task. And it isn't to hide who I am, but to create what I am. I am the night.
And this is Geek&Stein.
This week, it's a little different.
This one's a little bit more like therapy, because we've all come through something terrible, and we'd like to talk about it. That terrible thing was Batman vs. Superman.
Dawn of Justice.
Was it good? Was it bad? We're going to talk about it today. I tend to think it wasn't that terrible. Brian thinks it was a dumpster fire. But we're going to dive into that, and maybe we'll solve it. We probably won't, but...
Nope.
No, we probably won't. Nobody else has been able to.
So, the facts and the figures. It's a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is the key by which everybody judges movies these days. I think it's the preeminent rating system that we have in our culture for watching movies right now.
Unfortunately, because as we've talked about, it really isn't that good of a rating tool. Because what it is that Rotten Tomatoes, yeah, it has a 29% at a 5 out of 10. So... You know what I'm saying? Like, it's actually, 5.5, I think, is roughly the rating on. But nobody really looks at the rating on Rotten Tomatoes. They just look at the percentage, which is actually
how many liked
critics
it
liked
versus
it.
Didn't like it. It's 29% thumbs up,
right?
29% thumbs down.
29, but the average rating was higher than the percentage. The average rating was 5.5 out of 10. So that would be a 55%, technically. On a rating.
Yeah, and
scale.
IMDb comes in somewhere around 7.4. Metacritic is a really low 44.
IMDb score is actually pretty good. That's how I've looked at a lot of other scores. A lot of other decent movies have around the 7 and 8 range. That rating is derived from the audiences, right? Not the critics.
And we should note that on Rotten Tomatoes' audience score, their popcorn score, it's floating in the 70s also.
Right.
Which sounds not too bad until you realize that that's the lowest Batman popcorn score since Batman and Robin. It's also lower than almost every Marvel movie except for 2 of them, and that's The Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2, both of which are not well-loved Marvel films.
I think this sort of is the DC Universe's Iron Man 2. Both functionally and sort of as a piece of entertainment. It's alright. It's, I think I've come to like Iron Man 2 more as time has gone on, especially from a retrospective standpoint. After seeing Avengers, Iron Man 2, it presents better for me after seeing Avengers. Before seeing Avengers, I was kind of like, but I just want to watch I just want to watch the sequel to Iron Man. I don't want to see the prequel to Avengers, which is what Iron Man 2 felt kind of like. It felt almost more of a prequel to Avengers than a sequel to Iron Man 1.
I was linking to my article on Reddit, and somebody mentioned that Batman vs. Superman was a 2.5-hour trailer for the rest of the DC Universe.
It actually kind of paces like a trailer too.
Sadly.
Kind of these like smash cuts and things, but I would say that after watching Avengers, Iron Man 2, it set better with me. I think that Batman vs. Superman will probably sit better after seeing Justice League.
Should this be a moment to say spoiler alert to those that haven't seen it? Do we care?
No, if you haven't seen it, don't see it. And if you've already seen it, good.
Do you stand there and you say don't see it?
This
you
movie.
don't think you should see it?
No, I don't think you should see this movie, and I think we should pile onto this movie, and I think we should make DC and Warner Brothers feel bad that they ever let this movie come out. And my reasoning is this: it's not that the movie is about bad themes. It's not that the cast was bad. In fact, the cast is is wonderful compared to most superhero movies out there, compared to most movies, period. But the movie's terribly paced, as Jason mentioned. The movie has tons of plot holes. The story feels like a Frankenstein of a bunch of ideas. This is not the kind of movie you want to see put out over and over and over again. You want to see a good movie with good themes and good casts. So when you have these good elements that you like, the important thing to do is to say, this is crap, I don't want a movie with a good cast and terrible execution. I want a good movie with good execution. I want Winter Soldier.
No movie's perfect, right? I mean, there's just no movie that's going to hit everything. And while I think that Batman vs. Superman has its flaws, the cast is great. The visuals are actually really good. I mean, the visuals are really cool. I actually think that the movie completely delivered on what it said it was going to deliver on. For better or for worse, it sticks to the trailer. I mean, if you saw the trailer, you kind of saw the movie. There's no bait and switch here. I mean, it is what it presented itself as. And so I wouldn't not recommend it to people. I think that, because there's going to be people who enjoy it. There's going to be people who come away and go, man, I'm glad I saw that movie. And I don't want to rob anybody of that experience. I don't want to tell you don't go, because there are things that I didn't like. Well, you're here to steal and kill people's joy.
No. This is like telling people to go get a steak at Outback. I mean, yeah, you're going to be delivered a steak. It's going to be cooked poorly, and who knows if it's actually from a cow. Yeah, you're going to get your steak, but don't tell people to go to Outback and get a steak.
Some of my best memories are at Outback Steakhouse.
Well,
Bloomin' onion.
That's... Yeah, okay. You're going to Outback Steakhouse for an onion. An onion baked... Deep fried in bread.
And dipped in sauce.
And you know it's not good for you. Which brings us back to Batman vs. Superman. It's not good for the superhero genre. It only is good because it represents more movies that you might like. But what if every other DCEU film after this is like Batman vs. Superman? Terribly paced, with a terrible story, with full of plot holes. Are you going to be happy if every DCEU film comes out like this one?
I'll say this. Yeah, I want better. There's no doubt. Any movie I see that has flaws, I'm like, man, I want it to be better. I watched Kevin Smith's review of the movie, and it was actually pretty negative. And he's a friend of Ben Affleck. That he's been touting this movie the whole time, and he saw it with someone who absolutely hated Man of Steel, and he hated this, and then went back and saw it with Jason Mewes, who loved it. and
Sure.
And Kevin Smith kind of was like, he was like, there's a point in the movie where there's a dream sequence with Batman, and it's in the desert, and it's this kind of post-apocalyptic world, right? Yep. Batman he's trying to get kryptonite, I think, is what he's trying to get from some kind of a dealer or whatever. It's like it's set up almost like an arms deal out in the desert, and it's all a ruse. It's all kind of a setup. The people that he's trying to buy this stuff from, they turn out to be Superman soldiers. And they rip the thing out of there. Batman's fighting, and then parademons show up. Now, in this review, Kevin Smith said, "Now that is the moment that you either squealed about." And you knew no matter how bad some things in this movie would get, this movie was for you. This movie is there. They were going to deliver on things that you'd never seen before. As a DC fan, there are going to be some things that you're just going to...
It was a terrible scene in the film. Batman opens up this kryptonite, and it's green light bulbs in a box. If you're going to bring him fake kryptonite, why do you give him green light bulbs
Probably make it look a little
There
bit
could be
more.
Nothing in there. There could be a green fake rock, but you're going to give him green glowing light bulbs? That makes no sense.
And then Batman turns from Batman into Gunman. And just starts shooting.
In this, which I think maybe is less of a dream and more of a premonition of what could be. But I totally buy it. I'm like, all right, in the end days, sure, Batman's he doesn't care.
Picking up green light bulbs.
This is at the end of times. He's going to probably be using guns. He's going to use whatever he needs to use to take.
It's gotten to that point.
Yeah, it's gotten to that point.
Green light
That's
bulb.
not as much as people want you to think that that's the Batman you're getting in this movie. It's not. It's not. It's just not. He is not just Punisher. He's not just Gunman throughout the whole movie. He doesn't kill people with guns. He's not running around with guns shooting people.
The Batmobile does.
The Batmobile has some guns, but you know what? Tim Burton's Batmobile had guns. Christopher Nolan's Batman killed people. Tim Burton's Batman killed people. This Batman kills some people, but it's not in a murderous, like, he's just walking up with a handgun. He's got some guns on his vehicle, but when he's in hand-to-hand combat, it's very Batman. It's very, very Batman. You can't not say that. Like, the fight with the Russians is a very Batman-y fight.
Does that Dark Side sequence, the dream sequence, does that add anything to the entire film?
No.
No. And what it is people are getting excited about this because it's an idea that they gave a couple minutes of screen time to. The problem with people who like this movie is they're watching it and they're excited by the ideas. They're not excited about the execution of the ideas. They all say, the movie had some problems, but look at the cool ideas. We don't go to movies to see ideas poorly executed. You want to go see ideas that are executed well. That's what makes good movies. Ideas that are done well.
Some people do, though.
This is a mishmash of ideas. You're getting excited about poorly fleshed out things. It's terrible.
There are a lot of movies that are poorly executed.
Sure.
That people love.
Sure.
Love them. Love these movies.
Sadly.
And so who are we to, steal that from them? You know what I mean?
Because it's not demanding more from the filmmakers. The filmmakers are going to keep putting out trash because we say, hey, it's okay to have trash out. Let's just go watch it and enjoy it. This is trash. We should expect Winter Soldier almost every time, or at least Avengers 1 every single time. These movies cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make. Get a competent creative team on it. Zack Snyder, you're not competent anymore.
And that's what birthed the Winter Soldier checklist.
I think let's put it into perspective. This is DCEU's second movie in their universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Man of Steel is essentially their Iron Man, and this is essentially their Incredible Hulk, right? Essentially, this is in terms of
they're totally different. You can't put one sequence of films up against another sequence of films and just say the first film is equivalent to the first film, the second one's equivalent to the second. They weren't trying to do. Come on, they weren't trying to do with Incredible Hulk what they're trying to do with this movie. This movie's launching. This is more akin to Iron Man 2, except we're all way more familiar with Superman and Batman than we were with War Machine and Black Widow and even Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury.
Absolutely. And I think that the box office reflects that.
Yeah.
But the response reflects the kind of movie it is, which is similar to Iron Man 2. I would probably say that Iron Man 2 is maybe a touch better than this movie was. But
I agree.
They're in a similar realm. Like, where do you put Iron Man 2?
Actually, I enjoyed Iron Man 2. It's probably just starts off that bottom half of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But it's not memorable.
My point in saying all this is that at the point that we had seen both Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2, which were, I think, pretty close, pretty much back to back, right?
Yeah, they were back to back films, a couple years apart.
The best of what Marvel had was yet to come.
And why? What happened with Iron Man 2 that they improved on their game? People complained about it.
Right. So I think why can't we expect that to happen?
We should expect that to happen. That's why I'm saying we should pile on. We should expect better. We got a Wonder Woman movie coming out. I'm jazzed for that. We got a Flash movie coming out. I never was into Flash, but hopefully it's good. I was never into Iron Man as a kid either.
Yeah.
So we've got all these movies coming out. And hopefully they're good,
I guess I think that the same thing that we did with Iron Man 2, where it was like, Iron Man 2 maybe could have been executed better. Maybe not. Maybe in retrospect they did exactly what they wanted to do. And they were just kind of like, just wait and see what we're doing. Either way, if we had done the same thing that we're trying to do right now and said, don't go see Iron Man 2. Kill the universe. Let's see Marvel die. That's what people are saying with this. We want this to be rebooted. We want to kill whatever plans DC has. We want it to die. We want this movie to fail. Don't go see it.
I haven't read that.
That's what you're saying.
No.
You're saying don't go see this movie.
Pile onto this movie. Don't go see this movie and expect better.
If you don't go see the movie, we're done. Over. DCEU
so we need to
over.
watch crappy movies just to protect the DCEU?
We did with Iron Man 2.
Iron Man's not a crappy movie. Iron Man's a substandard Marvel movie.
And I would say that Batman vs. Superman is a substandard superhero movie.
Iron Man 2 has some flaws to it. Batman vs. Superman has deep filmmaking problems from a filmmaking perspective. The way it's cut together, the problems we've already outlined. This is a movie that we should tell everybody, hey, this is not acceptable for what we expect out of superhero movies nowadays. The genre for better and none for worse, is expected to be entertaining. And Batman vs Superman only entertains you on its ideas. Its execution's terrible.
That's opinion, because I was entertained. If anything, I was entertained by the movie. I may not think it's great, but I was entertained by it. Justin, we've talked a lot. What do you think? What's your thoughts?
I agree.
Love it.
That was not planned.
And that's Geek&Stein.
That was good, Justin.
It was kind of a big deal. This is the first time Batman and Superman have shared the screen together. It felt like they just tried to ramrod too many things in there.
Yeah.
And, shame on us. You tricked us. Dawn of Justice, big heads up.
We probably should have known.
Justice League's coming. Yeah, we get it. And we're seeing little snippets of, Justice Leaguers that are going to show up. If you're going to go that route, just have them show up at the tail end. Don't give us little tidbits, because
Terrible sequence in the film.
that is probably the sequence that I will click forward on when I own this on Blu-ray. I will fast forward that part.
When I own it, because let's be honest, it's still a movie that I'm going to buy.
And there's 34 minutes of added footage coming to that
Yeah, we can see 34-minute more of this movie.
It might make more sense.
Maybe it'll make more sense. I've actually said maybe the film will be better with an extra half hour.
It's pretty long. It's a long movie.
Get comfy.
It's got the Return of the King.
Snacks.
Got the kind of Return of the King problems of
ending.
Too many endings. My biggest problem with that scene, for one, are we to assume that Lex named all these characters? That he's the one that
he came up with their logos.
He created logos for these characters?
Yeah.
Did Lex do that? He created his own enemies.
Good on him.
He did it. If there's anything, he's a great graphic designer. That Lex.
I thought the same thing.
That Lex
Who's
Luthor.
designing his superhero-themed operating system?
He's like, all right, look, I've got these secret files.
Do Lex.
I've got these secret files, and I was hoping that, maybe you could make some logos for me. He's handing them off to his LexCorp graphic designers in-house. He's like, this is a very secret project, and I just... No.
Look, even where he's defending the movie, he can't go very long without making fun of it again. It's that bad.
I said up front, the first thing, I stepped out of that theater, and I was like...
It's not terrible.
I don't think I liked Lex. It was not for me. That Lex is not for me. I think he's pretty silly.
We shouldn't be comparing it to Iron Man 2. The one I think we should compare this to, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Nah, it's not that bad.
That movie was trash. We should compare it to that because the movie was trash, and the X-Men franchise recovered, did well. The next Wolverine movie, fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I liked it a lot. A little forgettable on the plot, but I did get to see Wolverine be a badass, so I was pretty happy for the 2 hours of that one.
He killed that CG bear like a boss.
That CG bear was pretty
All right,
bad.
so if we're going to get into comparisons, let's run with that. Batman versus Superman versus X-Men Wolverine.
Which one's a better film?
What is it as bad as? What do you think? Do you think it's as bad as?
That bad.
It's not that bad, right?
I think it's better than X-Men Origins Wolverine, but it's in the same world. Yeah, it's only a notch above.
So that leads me into kind of a different realm. Is it as bad as X-Men Origins Wolverine? As bad as Catwoman? As bad as Fantastic Four?
Well,
I say no. And it's in that same range of kind of critical, like Rotten Tomatoes, that has a similar score to those movies. I say no. I think it's a notch above those. It's not an Avengers. It's not, a Winter Soldier. It's not some of the best. It's not even, I liked Man of Steel. I don't think it's as good as Man of Steel.
Nope, not even close.
Yeah, but it's not a Catwoman. It's not a Green Lantern. You know what I mean? It's
film rating
somewhere
system
between
would
those.
disagree with you. And that cinema score, which captures users on their way out of a film.
Yeah.
Where would you rate this film? And they rated it a B, which if you follow cinema score, a B is not good.
I think that's a flaw. That's a very flawed system because what cinema score does is it catches random people coming out of the movie they just saw. Right? So here's the problem. I don't have a problem with with people walking out of a movie. These are just random people. We don't know if they're fans. We don't know if they're just random people walking out, and someone says, "What did you think of that movie?" "Oh, I liked it. I give it a B." Now, that is something that I think works for Batman vs Superman. I have a problem with us finding out that people gave Catwoman a B. Or, you know what I mean? That's where the flaw is. Sure, yeah, a B. Cinema Score gave it a B. That means that people all over... I think what this more says is that people have a hard time sort of sifting through what they think of a movie right after the movie.
To your point...
I could be wrong.
To your point, 5 million people came out of Batman vs. Superman and gave it a B. 5 people came out of Catwoman and gave it a B.
Yeah.
But Cinema Score may be the best movie rating system there is.
I disagree.
Because
yeah.
it accurately tracks how films do in the long tail. How do films do monetarily? Cinema Score tracks that the best. And films with Bs tail off quickly. They don't have long runs in movie theaters.
Batman Superman has the worst Friday to Friday dip.
Drop.
The worst Friday to Friday drop.
Yeah.
I think they said it only made like total this weekend. They're expecting it to make 50 million. And I think Friday made 15. That's really bad. That's really low. It dropped a lot. It dropped over 80% from last Friday to this Friday.
That's brutal. Typical films do 60% drop.
Yeah, but at the same time, it also had one of the best weeks ever. It had the highest Monday, the highest Tuesday, and I think the highest Wednesday in March of all time. And so it's a weird movie.
If there's one thing we know about Zack Snyder films, they're divisive. People love them or they hate them. Sucker Punch, Man of Steel, even Watchmen, which I love Watchmen.
Watchmen's very divisive.
But people hate it or they love it. It's too big of a risk for this. There's no divisive filmmakers in Marvel.
That's true. They have very general audience films.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of well-liked all around. Now, if our friend Mark was here, he'd be disagreeing handedly, and not for the same reasons that I am. I think he actually he just likes the movie. He just likes movies that don't feel... He's not a big fan of the Marvel movies.
No,
I get it.
No, he's not a superhero fan.
I think he just kind of... They're a little too general audience. I think that there are some people out there that just like off-the-cuff, kind of offbeat movies, and I think that that's kind of what Zack Snyder's made here. This is Watchmen, Batman vs Superman. They're not the kind of popcorn, kind of easy to swallow films that the Marvel movies are.
So what if they just killed off the DCEU right now and rebooted it better?
No, I'd be a little bummed because I really, really liked this iteration of Batman. And kind of like you said, I'm hopeful to see these characters given better stories.
Yeah,
I like these characters. I really like the portrayals. I just think that if they were given a better story, a better movie to be in. The characters are what saves it for me in this movie. It's Batman and Superman. I like Henry Cavill. He wasn't given a lot to do in this movie, but what he was given to do, I thought he did well.
Absolutely.
I thought he did it really well. He really conveyed kind of that rock in a hard place.
He could have flown around the city using his X-ray vision and super hearing, which he heard Lois from really far away. Couldn't go stop the Russians himself in an hour.
He probably could have found her.
So Superman, I like Henry Cavill. His Superman is sort of an idiot.
But this has to do with writing, not him. Like I think that Henry Cavill really did it. It's the writing, and I said that the script had problems. Not all of its internal kind of thought process worked. Like, all the thought processes don't work in this movie.
Yeah, and it really kind of saddened me because I'm seeing this creature who is supposed to be Doomsday. Lex clearly says, "This is your Doomsday."
Mr. Doomsday.
And I don't know what else you could have substituted that for, but how great would it have been to save Doomsday once you've introduced all the other Justice League members, and then you get that iconic. They're all helping carry Superman's casket together as a team. This figure that brought everyone together. It's up to Batman to now piece
failed him in life
together the Justice League, and
I won't fail him in death.
Is that a role for Batman? Is that Batman's job?
And if you think about it, Superman has nothing to do with the Justice League when he comes back to life. He didn't know about the other members. He wasn't on the email chain.
No.
So Superman coming back.
He's kind of out of the loop.
Yeah, he's out of the loop. He doesn't even know. He's gonna come back to life and be like, "Whoa, who's this fish guy here? I don't even know who this is."
Hey, Clark, look what I did.
I made a team just like you wanted. Aren't I awesome now?
I was planning on
Dude,
taking...
we're totally best friends. Your mom has my mom's name.
Did we just become best
We
friends?
just become best friends.
Whoa!
Trying to figure out why this Doomsday looks so much like a cave troll.
Yeah.
And it's Weta.
Yeah.
Oh, did they do it?
They did.
Well,
You know, they gave us the awesome cave trolls in Lord of the Rings.
Come to find out, they have one thing up their sleeve. Yeah, they got one character up their sleeve.
But I'm like, okay, he's big, he's nasty, he's pantsless,
No pants,
and no business.
no business.
And that
What did that machine do to Zod?
Yes, poor Zod.
that could be why he's so mean.
Okay, so if you're going to do this, first I think it's 2 movies. This is what we talked about. They tried to cram essentially...
Maybe 3.
They tried to cram essentially Dark Knight Returns and The Death of Superman into one movie. And you feel it. You feel like they're trying to cover 2 movies worth of content just to get to Justice League. Essentially, they delivered us a Superman funeral and a Death of Superman, and it wasn't that big of a deal to me because where's everybody? Where's all the heroes that are mourning the loss of Superman? In this world...
Like, I don't think they pulled the wool over anyone's eyes like, oh, Superman's dead, guys.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out there.
We're just joking.
Yeah, no.
No Justice League with Superman.
So-
this is the second Superman movie.
He kind of dies twice in this movie, too.
Twice. He gets hit by a nuclear bomb. He looks like a zombie.
Yeah.
Almost like
He
Bizarro.
looks like Bizarro,
Superman.
yeah.
And then he comes back to life. So we know the sun brings him back to life.
Which was kind of foreshadowing, but
Meh.
I think that this movie would have been better as 2. I really do. But I think they rushed it because they want to get to Justice League. They want that brand recognition of Justice League movie.
So what do we learn from this movie?
Take up in turn. I think I hated it.
All right.
No, just kidding. I still like it. Go see it. There's no real moral to this movie.
Oh, there's a moral for me.
Was there?
And it's that movies do a great job of world building, except when they're billed as world builders. If a filmmaker comes and says, this movie's going to be the world builder for our next films, avoid it like the plague. It's going to be terrible.
Probably for Jason and myself, one thing that I try to do, but I think Jason has seen the light, is to kind of stay away from trailers.
Yeah. This movie, the trailers were terrible in terms of just ruining the movie. I know, there's no doubt in my mind that I would have had a more enjoyable experience with this movie had I not seen the trailer.
I mean, literally, I haven't seen the full cut together, all the trailers cut together, but I'm wondering if that entire Batman vs. Superman battle is in there.
Gotta show it. The only thing they didn't spoil was him dying. And
nobody cared.
And
honestly,
that was really lukewarm.
it was kind of lukewarm.
Was there any theater reaction on a theater when he died?
Nah.
I think by then people were like, I'm ready to go.
Here's hoping when we do this for Civil War, and it's a much more unified
I would put money on it being a better movie.
experience.
Will Warner Brothers do a better job in Justice League? Or will they continue to crush people's dreams? Stay tuned, people. Brian.